Welcome back to McGRATH Beauty. Today I'm playing with the PAT McGRATH Huetopian palette. This beauty right here. So if you're interested, keep watching and I'll go over the pros and cons of 3 different looks I did over the course of a week. Keep watching. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen what this looks like already. And there she is, really gorgeous. Just really beautiful. And this is in natural sunlight. But I'm going to bust out my other 2 just so we can do comparisons. Officially, and I know other people have done this, is unofficially labeling this Mothership 3 palette. And I can see why. So here's Mothership 1. No, I'm sorry, Divine Rose 1. And definitely I think it's the most wearable in terms of quote unquote universal. It's not as intimidating of a palette. So this is Divine Rose 1. And then before I go into my thoughts, I will just show you the palettes. And this is the one that came out last year. And I'll put it on angle so you can see. And then again, here is the new one. This is compared. This is the new one, and the one at the bottom is for the Mothership from last year. So very similar in tones. And the special shades are here, usually the 4 at the end. Divine Rose 1. You can see this runs a little bit more cool tone, at least compared to my skin tone. So I run warm olive, sometimes neutral, but I'm coming off a summer tan. So, I mean, you can just see how that's gonna show up on my skin tone. This, we'll see. This was the first of the Divine that came out, Divine Rose. I think it's very beautiful. This is kind of hit or miss on me. I have to work hard not to have this look very ashy on me because I think it runs too cool. So the tones like this, and I'll go ahead and swatch it. Sometimes this can just look a bit ashy on my skin tone. I mean, not so much this because this is beautiful, but this gray color is just not my favorite. I mean, we have the brown here, which is kind of saving grace, so I can work on those. But, you know, maybe it's just that throws me off. And then we have these 2 here. Swatch them here. Those are pretty. For my skin tone, it's very subdued, and I just find that it's not my favorite. Last year's palette, however, was a win for me. This is definitely one of my favorite PAT McGRATH palettes, and it's just, I mean, I'll just put it up next to my face, and that you can just see the colors are going to pop more on my skin tone. And what I always look at, the shimmer shades are never duds in my opinion. Like, you can always amp them up. What is important to me is how the mattes that are included, how they play, because that's kind of the base of a lot of what the looks are. So I know that's a shimmer one, but I mean, look at those. And against here, you can see this is gonna be a really nice complementary color. And why don't we get into it? Let's go into that shade. And the pigment as always, and I'll get in closer. For a different brush just to blend it out softly. I'm reaching for the Wayne Goss 03, and that previous one was a Sonia G Crease Pro. I'm going to use my soft shader and see. I'm going to go into this really pretty coral color. And it reminds me, I'm just going to show this, that it reminds me of Electric Bloom. Do you see that? Grabbing some more. And then bring it up on the crease a little bit so it blends together. Okay. I'm going to go back into that first shade and just build it up a little bit more up here. Okay, do you see that? I'm coming in close. So there is a little bit of gradation there, you can see. Okay, Beautiful. I'm going with my Refer 02 brush. This is one of my favorite brushes. I'm going to see if I can just put some of that here just to see what that looks like. Really beautiful. I almost want to put this on my entire lid, but for the purposes of the video, I want to try as many colors as possible. But do you see that? It's this color here. It's really beautiful. I could put that all over my lid and be done. So that was this one before, right here. Now I'm going into this one. And I'm just flipping my brush around. Actually, I dabbed the rest of that product off, and then I flipped it over. So still the Refer 02, and going into that rose gold color. So I can tell already it's gonna have some fallout. So I'm just gonna tap it gently and just pack it on. I'm going to try the new Artistry wand. And I haven't had enough time to play with this. So I think what it is it's basically like a really convenient way to just layer on glitter, or, you know, not just Pat McGrath products, but it doesn't add texture, which is great. And I've tried glitter glue in the past, and I've not been a fan. But this is way, you know, it's spendy, but it's very convenient. So so it does leave some residual, and I'm going to wipe it off just for hygienic purposes. So I wipe that off, and I'm going to go into that rose gold again and pack it on and see if there's a difference. Yep, there's definitely a difference. Really beautiful. Look at that. Okay, so I want to add some depth. Oh, this is the it's like almost a duochrome. We'll do that for another time. And that's a beautiful matte. So I think I just want to add some of this in the matte brown at the end, just to deepen it up. In my set, this is from Sonia G's Sky set for the eyes. And what I love about it is if you have hooded eyes or smaller eyes, and this doesn't have any product on it, you can just get in here really easily, and then you're done. So I'm going into that matte shade here. Doesn't take a lot. So I'm going to do this. You can see that just deepens out the outer corner. And then I'm going to take I'm going to wipe this this Wayne Goss brush off and just blend and diffuse. Pull it out for a more dramatic effect. I think this is where this product comes in handy for Pat McGrath's special astral shades, because there's lots of fallout. I mean, there's nothing getting around the fallout of this, whether you use glitter glue, you pack it on. Let's put gold on as an inner corner highlight, and then I'm going to put that lighter shade, traditional brighter shade in my crease. Taking my Refer 13 and just going into that. Whoa, that's much more shimmery than I was hoping. So it's definitely more of a white. It's not warm at all. Not what I was expecting. So let me buff it out a little bit. Okay, I guess not my favorite for brow bone because of my warm skin tone, but let me just, yeah, that's better. I'm taking the Sonia G Pencil Pro into that gold, and I'm dabbing in there. I'm just wondering if there's going to be some fallout here. So tap it. And then actually layering it in. a little bit so there's some dimension. So you see that? And then I'm going to drag some of that down. I'm definitely getting some fallout. I don't know if you can see. I'm thinking that I'm going to take that first shade that I have, that rosy mauve, and just run it all along the bottom. And this is the rougher 03. Going back in, just gonna run it. Okay, and then I think I'm going to take some of, I wiped off my brush, I'm going to take some of that brown, and maybe it's not really a brown. Let me just do another swatch of it. Maybe it's like a plum brown. Yes, I would say it's, I love it. It's not brown. It's a deep plum. I love it. Those are my colors. So what I'm going to do is just kind of dab some of this on the lower lash line. Go back up here. How does that look? So this is, I would say this is, I would wear this to work. This is wearable. I mean, it's glam. It's always going to be Pat McGrath, but look at that. You see, what I love is this shift up here. Look at that. And that was just one of the special shades. Okay, I'm wondering if I should go extra and put purple. Let's do it. Because there's so much fallout on the special shades, I'm taking the Smudger 2 brush and purple shade because I really want to try it with my Sonia G Smudger 2. Okay. So pretty. Purple for eyeshadows is one of my favorite. And there's definitely glitter blue flecks in there. It's just a party on your lids. Okay, so I'm taking some MAC Prep and Prime Fix, and I'm just spraying it on there so it helps pack on some of the product. Some people spray the brush before and then go into the product, but I don't want to contaminate my product, so I do it afterwards. So what I'm going to do is just try to pack it on. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's a glittery mess. Let me see if I can clean that up, unless you can figure out a way that's less messy, or just you're gonna be okay with the mess. I mean, I'm committed at this point. There's definitely a lot of fallout, as you can see here. I'm gonna go closer. Okay, it's cleaned up a little bit. Actually, it's not that bad. You just gotta know there's gonna be some fallout. Look at this. This is just one eye. And I almost, gold, pink, purple blues that shift to the plums. I'm feeling it. Okay, so I'm gonna finish my other eye and I'll be back. So I finished doing the other eye, and the only thing I did different on this eye was to see if it would, that special shade, that glitter, that purple blue glitter would stay better if I ran a little bit of this product, the Intensifies Artistry Wand underneath. And I think it did. I mean, there's just lots of fallout. So I was also poking in there to make sure none of the glitter went into my eyeball. Sorry if people have an eyeball issue. So I just know that you're gonna get fallout. That's just, especially with the special shades, that's just par for the course with Pat McGrath. Well, what I'll say is that I'll wear test this and then report back to you in my final review what I think about. I'm trying to do 3 looks, so I'll finish up my eye look and then I'll be right back. I finished the eye look. I finished with the Pat McGrath Dark Star Mascara and then the Pat McGrath Blitz Brown on top, and had to smudge it out. And I would say there's definitely was some fallout, so I had to do some cleaning up, but isn't that gorgeous? I'm just gonna come up really close so you can see with my eyes open and then closed. just really beautiful. Okay, and then going to pull out. And then I think because the look is so extra, I'm gonna go into one of the glosses, I think. This is Aphrodisiac, Faux Real. That's just like perfect nude. And then this is one of my favorites, Pale Fire and Nectar, which is pretty blingy. Definitely that last one has a scent. I think I just might go into the middle one. Which one to use? That's Electric Bloom. This is Nude Venus. I'm leaning on that, or this. This is more warm, so I think I might go for this one. So we'll finish off with Faux Real on the lips. Yeah, let's do a combo. That Faux Real, actually, now that I remember, it's great as a topper. Yeah, that's better. I would say Pat McGrath lip glosses are some of the best. For me, they're right up there. Lip glosses between Tom Ford, Pat McGrath, and now Lisa Eldridge. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to do, did I do bronzer yet? Oh, I used some contour, and it'd be great if Pat McGrath came up with some bronzers. I don't think she has yet. I'm going in with Tom Ford bronzer, Gold Dust, and well loved, well used. And I'm using my Chikuhodo brush, cheek brush. I know it's for cheeks, but I use this for here because this is where my makeup tends to lift. So I really like a gentle brush. Tiny mirror. Do you see that? Oh, this is why it's the best. I think bronzer might be my favorite thing to put over blush. This is one of my favorite brushes. This is so extra, this brush. I have only one of these Chikuhodo in this series, but I want to get more. They're pretty spendy, but I think I got it at a Beautylish Points event. Okay, so that's the bronzer. We're going into Nude Venus for the blush. I'm gonna use the Sonia G Phase 2. I'm looking for the clean brushes. So this is the Nude Venus. Yep, and so it picks up a lot, and then so I'm gonna just tap it here a little bit so you can see how pretty that is. It matches really well with that Tom Ford. Put it up higher. Okay, so it's the final look. First look for Pat McGrath, Huetopian Dream. What do you think? So here we are for look number 2 and maybe 3 if I have time with the Huetopian palette. I'm going to start the look with Secret Eden, which is this one. And there's only 3 mattes in this palette. So you're kind of, unless you're okay with doing all shimmer. So let me see if I can use the actual heavy palette. And my eyes are primed and prepped already. Do it this way so you can see. Okay, that was the first Secret Eden, just putting that in the crease shade. So you can see that ends up being really deep on me. but on my, as a swatch, you know, it comes off like this. I'm taking a Wayne Goss 19 and I'm going into, again, this Shockwave peachy color, and I'll do a swatch of what that looks like for me. I love that color. Often with pinks, it's hard, peachy pinks, it's hard for them to show up on my deeper skin tone. So I just feel like this is going to work really well for a lot of folks. If you're lighter, then you're going to just go easy on it. But I'm a medium tan, and then I can just imagine with beauties with deeper skin tones that's going to show up. So I just love that shade. See, I'm just going to layer that underneath. Just patting it. Okay, so I'm going to go back into that other shade. And I had no plans on what I was going to do today. And when I film, I generally don't like to look at other people's reviews because I don't want them to influence how I'm feeling about the palette. I might, after I do my video, then I look at other people's reviews, but I just don't want to be influenced one way or the other. Because I knew already I was going to get PAT McGRATH, but... So I'm just adding more up here because, and this is a technique since I have hooded lids, right, and I don't have deep set eyes, it's like almost you have to create the crease there, if that makes sense. So I'm utilizing all of the real estate I have up there. Does it make sense? Okay, and I'm filming in natural light. I try as much as possible to film in natural light. Last time I used these shades and then this underneath. I don't think I used too much of that. No, I did last time. That really pretty, oh, that's such a pretty color. I want to reach for it, but I'm going to force myself not to this time. I'm wondering what this might look like. Oh, that's too bright for her. If I wanted a smoky look, I could do that. Let me pull these other special shades. And these are the glitter toppers. So what I'm going to do is go into this, I think it's like a duochrome. So it reminds me of the Sextraterrestrial in the last Mothership palette. And this is Blitz Sex Dream. And then true to PAT McGrath form, I'm not going to use any brush. I'm just going to use my fingertips. Okay. Oh, and I forgot. So I wanted to use this. So let's try that and see what happens. So you do have to click it. I've used this once in the other eye look. Okay. And so you can see it went on pretty intensely. I want to see what happens when I add this on. Into the palette and use my finger again in this special shade. It's beautiful. It's like it's for me, it's like this smoky burgundy color with a shift. I'm going to take my rougher O2 brush just to clean up the edges a little bit, but also bring it up a little higher. See that? Wow. I love it. I'm going to take this yellow gold as the inner corner highlight, my 03 rougher brush, and for the inner corner highlight, and I grabbed some MAC Fix Plus and I'm going to spray it. Just go ahead and do that because what I know about these are great special shades, but there's also massive fallout. Beautiful, just enough. And actually, you know what I might do? I'm grabbing some more and I'm going to bring it up a little bit. See that? I'm going to take Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. I'm laughing at the names. I'm sorry. It's just extra, but that's kind of the brand of, you know, some of these colors. I'm going to do this and just add some up here. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, at least for the top, is take this Astral Venusian Orchid, this special shade here. And I believe it's a topper shade, so I'm just going to lightly take some of it, and all you need is a little bit of this, not too much. And I'm getting tired of holding that palette, so I'm gonna use my smaller palette from Pat McGrath and just tap it on. So I'm gonna get in a little closer so you can see. Hello. Just tapping it on. That's it. I don't want to put too much because then I'll get more fallout. So far, I don't think I've just gotten like maybe two specks of fallout. And then let me do the bottom part. I'm going to take Secret Eden and run it on my bottom lash line. Clean off my rougher 02 brush again and just run it along the bottom. Okay, and that's pretty smoky already. I don't think I need to go into this plummy color, although I just want to swatch it for you because it's just this wonderful plum color. Where can I put that? Up here, maybe. What I'm going to do is probably do two different eye looks, one over here and then one over here, just because I'm wanting to get into that purple shade. So I'm laying down again with Secret Eden. Okay. And then going with the smaller Wayne Goss number 19 brush, and then going into Shockwave again, that beautiful pinky peach color. Okay, and the side's much more pink, but that's okay because I'm going to try that purple color, that Astral Blitz shade. A rougher 15 brush. I love this brush, by the way. I don't think they haven't made these ones. They just usually do the matte handles now, but I love this one. It reminds me of Tom Ford, the Tom Ford brush. I can't remember which one, but the one that everyone tries to find. It's just a great blending brush because it's got a long handle. Go in with that Intensifies Eyes again and grab a smaller mirror. Going to use my fingers once again and then go into this beautiful purpley pink blue shift of a color. Do you see it? Blue, purple, and then pink. And this is what everyone goes crazy about, the Pat McGrath colors. So I'm going to take some and then just build it up from there. I'm going to take my left hand and do it right here. I'm a righty, so we'll see. That's really pretty. Look at that. And so what I'm doing is just pulling a little bit gently, right? That's the shade everyone's been going nuts about. I think it's beautiful. Okay, I want to build some depth up here on the corner, so I'm gonna clean off that Wayne Goss 19 as much as I can because I think it's also a great brush for the outer corner. So I'm just gonna dab too much because I don't want to disturb that shade so much. But I want to have a little bit of smoke here. See that? Just kind of brushing it in gently. Taking that rougher 15 and with nothing on it and just blending it out. See that shift? You can see that pink coming through. Actually, I want to add a little bit more of that pink. And you know what's so great about these wing gloss brushes, that they're, I don't have a lot of big space to work with. So I think they're just small enough to get in the small creases. And then Pat McGrath's shadows are so pigmented, you don't need a lot. So just tapping that pink on. Yes, look at that. Okay, what do I want to do? I want to add the, gold? I'm taking an Astral Venusian Orchid, that special topper shade, and just using it as my inner corner highlight there. So pretty. For O2 and then running that shockwave underneath, that pink. My Sonia G flat definer. I'm taking some of that plum color, the Extreme Plum Noir, this one. So for the inner corner highlight for this, I use that one, right? Mobile lid, use a lot of the Shockwave, the peachy pink as the base. And now I'm going into the Extreme Plum Noir, running it along here. There. I love this brush, it's so versatile. Okay, so I got 2 different eye looks out of here. Okay, now I'm gonna go off camera, finish my eye look, and then concealer, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back with the finished look. This is eye number 2. And then eye number 3. And then I finish off with the yellow concealer by Pat McGrath, Dark Star mascara, Tom Ford eyeliner, Nude Venus blush, and I finish up with Chrystie and Pat McGrath, and then top with Blitz Gold lip gloss. So what do you think? I think it's a really beautiful look. Put my hair. My final thoughts on the Huetopian Dream palette. I'm loving it so far. I think what it is that some people were upset that it wasn't like going to be, it's not the color story they expected on the promo pics. Here is the packaging, and they were expecting probably things like greens and blues and purples. Well, certainly purples in there, but I think, and the golds, right? And certainly like the primary colors, underlying color story are the peach and the rose and the purple, the plum mattes, right? So, I mean, if you look at this, it's pretty, I think it kind of matches the promo and branding. Do I think it's original? No, but I mean, already people are calling this the Divine Rose 3 palette. And if I were to rank, so like right off the bat of where I like the 3 Divine Rose palettes, this is probably number 1 or 2. I'm gonna have to get to know it more. I definitely loved last year's Mothership palette, and that was probably one of my favorite ones. So I think at the end of the year I might rank my Pat McGrath palettes. But this is what I'll say, is that if you are into her color stories already, I mean, even if you take even if you take this out, it's a pretty basic, very wearable palette. And then you add the 4 Blitz Astral shades, which is what everyone goes nuts over, right? So if you look at that, that's a pretty basic palette. It's about the quality of the shadows. So what I think some people might struggle with is that it's pretty pigmented. For someone who has been using makeup for a while, and most of the palettes, and this is just my opinion, most of the palettes are really geared towards people with lighter skin tones. And I know that folks will understand that if you struggled with this, you'll get me when I say this, that a lot of times we just have to work with those palettes that other retailers and products give us. We can make it work by like building it up, and it may not even show on our skin tones. And I am not even that deep, right? So you can imagine like the diversity of skin tones. You know, you're trying to meet a wide audience of people. So what I really do love about this palette is that it kind of defaults on like being deeper, like not deeper, like deeper in tone and pigment, so that if you are lighter than me, then you just go lighter with the application. But I didn't have to work very much to put for color payoff. So I think for people with medium tan, medium to deeper skin tones, I think you're gonna like this palette a lot, if not love. I can see myself reaching for this. And I did not like the Divine Rose 1 palette as much because with my skin tone, a lot of those colors looked ashy on me. And you all know what I'm talking about if you're somebody with the deeper skin tone, that we don't want stuff to look ashy on us. So that's probably one of my least favorite Pat McGrath palettes, but I keep it because I'm a collector and I make some of those things work. I just make it work, but there's some winners in that palette. But almost every color that I've used in here, I think has been a winner so far. So for me, this is like what I wanted in the Divine Rose palette, the first go round. Like this is what speaks to me as a brown skin, tan skin lady that's gonna be loving her makeup. So the cons or the thorns about this palette, it is expensive. I know I usually get it on launch day, so I get about 10% off. And if you wait, sometimes like wait 6 months to a year later, you might be able to get it 15%, but that's pretty few and far between. But I just love my Pat McGrath palettes. And what I'm paying for is the experience and the quality of the product, and shades that are hard for me to get in one color story. So the cons are, I would say that there is mad fallout. Like for this, I didn't get much fallout, and I knew to do my eye makeup before. That's why I didn't do the concealer till the last. So just know that, like, I think, especially if you put any of these special shades, right? If you put it too much, you're just gonna have like a hot mess express at the end of the day, maybe even 2 hours from now. But and the first look I love, but I ended up putting 2 of the special shades underneath, and it looks so pretty. By the end of the day, it was just all over. Looks so pretty. I was stubborn. I wore it all day, but it really irritated my eyes even until the next day, so much that I didn't wear the makeup. So I don't think I will be doing that again. Yes, I had a really pretty look for look number 1, but for me, like you can see it all. It's just like there's a lot of fallout with these special shades. Like I just wouldn't recommend putting that underneath if you have sensitive eyes. So those are the cons. I think if you're a Pat McGrath fan, or if you're new to Pat McGrath, just know that it's going to be some fallout, and you have to use a lot of glitter glue, or just wet your brush, or just use your fingers and dab it. You don't want to overdo it because you're going to have a lot of fallout. I mean, that's little. I mean, I'm willing to deal with that because look at this eye look. Okay, so that's it for my final thoughts. I'm really loving this palette. I did break down and I caved. I bought the new Celestial Holiday palette. So once it's gone, it's gone. It's a limited edition holiday palette. Yeah, they're dupes, probably. I'll check it out, and just probably reviews. And I'm even late in giving a review on this, but you know, someone will be watching this if they're interested in the Huetopian dream and want a review by someone with, with brown skin friendly. Is it? Yeah, for sure, I would say. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you haven't yet, please consider commenting below, liking, and subscribing. I'd really appreciate you being part of the beauty fam. So in the meantime, be kind to others and yourself, and be yourself. I hope you're doing really well, and take care. See you next time. Bye.